The grand ballroom of the luxury hotel sparkled with golden lights, fresh flowers, and expensive decorations. A giant birthday banner stretched across the stage, reading, "Happy 10th birthday, Emma and Ella." Every detail had been planned to perfection by one of the city's most powerful CEOs. The food was exquisite, the music was elegant, and dozens of guests had arrived wearing designer clothes. Yet, in the middle of all the beauty, something heartbreaking was impossible to ignore. Emma and Ella, the CEO's paralyzed twin daughters, sat quietly in their matching wheelchairs beside their enormous birthday cake. They smiled politely whenever someone looked their way, but most guests quickly turned their attention elsewhere. Adults gathered around business partners, investors, and celebrities. Children ran toward the game area, avoiding the twins because they didn't know how to interact with them. Minute after minute, the sisters remained alone, watching everyone else laugh and celebrate. From across the room, their father noticed everything. As a billionaire businessman, he could solve almost any problem with money, but he couldn't buy genuine friendship for his daughters. Every birthday ended the same way. People attended because of his status, not because they cared about Emma and Ella. The pain in his eyes grew heavier as he watched the girls quietly whisper to each other, pretending they were enjoying the party. Just outside the ballroom stood Daniel, a widowed single dad working part-time for the hotel's maintenance team. He had only come to repair a faulty lighting panel before heading home to his young son. As he finished his work, he glanced through the open doors and noticed the two girls sitting alone beside their untouched birthday cake. He also saw the sadness they tried so hard to hide behind forced smiles. Daniel remembered how lonely his own son had felt after losing his mother. He knew that kind of silence. It was the silence of children pretending they were fine because they didn't want to make anyone else sad. He looked at his son, Noah, who had been waiting patiently with a small backpack in the hallway. "Can we join them?" Daniel asked softly. Noah didn't hesitate. He smiled and nodded. "Of course, Dad." Without thinking about expensive suits, powerful executives, or whether they belonged there, the father and son walked toward the twins. Guests stopped talking and watched in confusion as the hotel maintenance worker approached the CEO's private family table. Daniel smiled warmly. "Happy birthday," he said. "Would it be okay if my son and I celebrated with you? No one should have to eat birthday cake alone." For the first time that evening, Emma and Ella's smiles became real. Emma and Ella looked at each other in surprise. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. Then Emma's eyes filled with happy tears. "You really want to sit with us?" she asked quietly. Daniel smiled as if it were the most natural question in the world. "Of course we do. Birthdays are meant to be shared." Noah pulled up a chair beside the twins without the slightest hesitation. "I like chocolate cake," he said with a grin. "And I think birthdays are better when everyone laughs together." The twins giggled, their nervousness slowly fading away. Daniel carefully helped place extra plates on the table while Noah began telling funny stories about school, his failed attempts to bake cookies, and how their family dog had once stolen an entire pizza off the kitchen counter. Within minutes, Emma and Ella were laughing so hard that tears rolled down their cheeks. Across the ballroom, conversations began to fade. Guests who had been busy networking turned their attention toward the table they had ignored all evening. They watched the maintenance worker and his son give the girls something that no expensive gift had managed to provide: genuine companionship. The CEO stood silently near the stage. His eyes never left his daughters. It had been years since he had heard them laugh with such pure joy. Every birthday had been filled with luxury, but not with happiness. Daniel had changed that in less than 10 minutes. When the birthday candles were finally lit, Daniel stepped back. "No," Emma said quickly. "Please stay." Ella nodded. "We want you and Noah beside us." The room became completely quiet. Together, the four of them counted to 3, and the twins closed their eyes to make their birthday wish before blowing out every candle in one breath. The ballroom erupted into applause, but this time the applause felt different. It wasn't for the extravagant party. It was for a simple act of kindness that reminded everyone what birthdays were truly about. The CEO slowly walked toward Daniel, emotion written across his face. "I've spent millions trying to make my daughters happy," he said softly. "Tonight, you gave them something money never could." Daniel lowered his head modestly. "I didn't give them anything special," he replied. "Every child deserves to feel included. Sometimes all it takes is asking one simple question." The CEO looked at his daughters, whose smiles were brighter than the candles they had just blown out. At that moment, he realized the greatest gift they had received wasn't wrapped in expensive paper, It had arrived with a humble single father who simply cared enough to say, "Can we join you?" The celebration should have ended there, but something unexpected happened. One by one, the children who had spent the evening playing on the other side of the ballroom slowly walked toward Emma and Ella's table. At first, they seemed nervous. They had never spoken to the twins before and weren't sure what to say. It was Noah who broke the silence. "Does anyone want to play a trivia game?" he asked with a smile. "Emma and Ella can be team captains." Within seconds, curious hands shot into the air. "I'll join Emma's team. I want to be with Ella." The twins' faces lit up with excitement. For the first time in years, they weren't being treated differently. They weren't the girls in wheelchairs. They were simply the birthday girls. Laughter soon echoed across the ballroom as the teams answered riddles, solved puzzles, and competed in friendly challenges. Daniel quietly stood near the back of the room, watching with pride. He hadn't planned any of this. All he had done was take the first step. Sometimes that was all kindness needed to spread. The CEO approached him once again, this time holding a small velvet box. Inside was a keycard. "I own several companies," he said. "But today you reminded me what real leadership looks like. I'd like to offer you a position managing our Community Outreach Foundation. It pays more than any maintenance job, and I believe someone with your heart belongs there." Daniel looked at the keycard but didn't reach for it immediately. "I appreciate the offer," he replied. "But if I accept, I want it to be because I'm qualified, not because I was kind for one evening." The CEO smiled. "That's exactly why you're qualified. Skills can be taught, character can't." After a long pause, Daniel accepted the opportunity with gratitude. Several weeks later, the foundation launched a new program that organized inclusive birthday celebrations for children with disabilities. Families from across the city attended the events, and every child was welcomed, celebrated, and included. Emma and Ella became the program's biggest ambassadors, greeting each new guest with the same warmth they had received on their own birthday. Noah remained their closest friend. Every weekend he visited the twins, bringing board games, books, and endless jokes that filled the house with laughter. What began as a simple question, "Can we join you?" had grown into a friendship that changed all of their lives. As the CEO watched the children laughing together during the foundation's first community celebration, he realized the greatest investment he had ever made wasn't in business, real estate, or technology. It was in compassion, because true wealth isn't measured by the size of a bank account. It's measured by the number of lives made brighter through kindness. And sometimes, one simple act of inclusion can become the beginning of a miracle that no amount of money could ever buy.